this is Matt Perez, and today we're going to kick off a small video series that's going to deal with everything from sketching all the way up to doing a little bit of motion simulation. Now, this is actually an example my wife came up with when she was just starting to learn SolidWorks. And I think it's really great because it does let us approach a lot of basic sketching problems, how to make your designs robust, how to make them easy to update, and how to go and set up a basic simulation motion study. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the equation manager. Now, if you guys don't use this very much, I just want to show you how easy this is. So we're going to create a global variable. Now you can see this from both the dimension view and the equation view. All I want to do is start typing in here. So I'm going to say dice dim, and that's going to be my global variable. As soon as we click over here in values and equations, it goes ahead and creates that name dice dim. You can see we have options for creating a function, grabbing some file properties, or actually measuring. So what the measure tool will do is create a reference dimension in your sketch or based on your feature. Now obviously we don't have anything, I haven't drawn anything yet. So all I want to do is type in the number 1. So I'm going to draw a dice that's 1 inch across, basically a 1 inch cube. So now that I have that global variable, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. You can see we now have an equations folder over here with that global variable dice dim. Now if you right click on this guy, you can go back to your equations manager whenever you need to, or you can go up to the tools and down to equations just like you used to. So now that we have that global variable dice dim, I'm going to go ahead and start sketching on my top plane. Now one thing I try to do, and it really helps efficiency in terms of creating extra planes, creating extra references, is start sketching at the origin whenever you can. And not only start there, but make sure that everything is centered there. Now it'd be real easy to grab a 2-point rectangle, start at the origin and drag over here. But the problem with that is as soon as we come out, we create a feature, we extrude that guy, now that thing is not centered anywhere. It's not centered at the origin. If we need to use that center point for anything like mirroring features or doing anything like that, well, we have a problem. We can't do that because everything is based off of that 0 coordinate and moving over here in positive space. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that and edit that original sketch and just get rid of this guy. Alright, so what I like to do is use a center point rectangle. I'll start right at the middle and start drawing that guy. Since we are dealing with a dice, it's essentially a cube, I want to make sure that the top and the sides are equal here. Now, you can do that 2 ways. You could grab that dice dim and you could link that to both sides, or you could go ahead and just apply an equal relation. So I'm going to select that top line, control select this other one, and from my pop-up menu, I can click Make Equal. You can also see that over here in the Properties window that comes up anytime you select a line or sketch entity. So you can see if I select just this one line, the only 3 options are horizontal, vertical, and fixed. It's already vertical. You can see that existing relation here. If I try to click horizontal, I'm going to get an error because the line can't be both vertical and horizontal. And if I fix it, well, then I don't have the ability to dimension that line anymore. So right now with those equal relations, and let me go ahead and turn that on so you can see it, we have an equal relation between those 2 lines. So that means that I can drag this guy anywhere I want to, and now they're completely equal. Let's hide those guys again. So the last thing I need to do here is apply a dimension. Now in the past you guys could apply a dimension, you probably right clicked on this thing and you went and linked values, you grabbed the drop down. Well, that takes a lot of extra time. Really all you guys need to do is apply a dimension, and as soon as this box pops up, hit the equal key. Now by typing in equals, you're telling SolidWorks that I want to start to create a function or some sort of equation here. Now it doesn't have to be an actual equation. You see the first drop down here is global variables. Well, that's that global variable dice dim that we created before we even started sketching. So I'm just going to click on that. By hitting this check mark, it's actually going to update the sketch with our global variable as the dimension, and then we can hit OK. So now we get a little icon here that is linking that variable, that value, to our global variable. Now the difference between right clicking and linking that variable is that you'll get a different icon here. Because we created a global variable and not an actual equation, even though we have the equation symbol here, it's really just linking to that value that's equal to 1. So don't worry if you see a different icon here, if you see the little chain link icon, or if you see the equation icon. It means the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and exit this sketch now, and we're going to extrude this guy. We're going to create a feature off of this. So for our dice, we want to do the extruded boss. Now the catch to this guy is we want to change our end condition. We don't want it to be a blind extrude. If we simply make a blind extrude, this guy is starting off of that sketch plane and coming out in space here. You know, you could do multiple directions, but really the best thing for us here is to go down to a mid-plane extrude. Now this mid-plane extrude, we want to make sure that that's equal to both the horizontal and vertical lines in our original sketch. So we're going to do the same thing in here. Is we can either hit the equal key, or you can see we have a drop down now that has our global variables, our functions, and our file properties. So again, we're just going to make that guy equal to dice dim. We're going to hit that check mark, and it's going to update the sketch and the feature for us, and then we're going to hit OK. So now we have one single dimension in here. We have a few relations, and that is driving everything. You see we have a 1-inch width on that line. We have an equal relation between the horizontal and vertical lines, and then we have the equation here, a 1-inch thick that we link to. So everything here is linked. One thing you'll notice though, when we click on this guy, there's no icon that is actually linking this guy. So if we grab this face, this thing is still free to be dragged out in space, and that's not what we want. So back inside this feature, instead of putting in the global variable using that drop down, I'm going to type in the equal key, and I'm going to say equals dice dim and hit OK. Now by typing in equals, we went ahead and we made sure that that extrude value is equal to our global variable. So now when we click on this guy and we look at it, we are linked to that equation. Now Instant 3D, the green arrow is now grayed out because we don't have the option to drag this guy in space. So even though you do have that option to use that drop down menu just by clicking on the dimension box, make sure you understand that you're not linking it unless you type in that equals. You're not creating any kind of reference back to that point if you're not hitting the equal key. Alright, so I think at this point we should go ahead and save our file, and in the next video we'll start talking about sketch blocks and how we can make one single sketch to use on every face, on every side of this dice.